Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for another Typhone Partner Spotlight webinar. We will start in about 2 minutes. I want to give everybody a few moments to get logged in. In about 2 minutes, we'll get this kicked off. All right, everyone, thanks again for joining us for another exciting Partner Spotlight webinar. Today, we are featuring our partners at FinAI, and I look forward to hearing them share information with their solution with us today. And just want to let you all know, we have everyone in a listen-only mode, and we do have a chat window for you to put in any questions that you may have. We will save the questions for the last 5 minutes of today's webinar, and we will answer those questions as we have time to get to them. And thank you again. I'm Helena Brill, an account executive here at Typhone, and I'm really excited now. I'm going to pass it over to my friends Michael and Jamie to introduce themselves.
Thank you so much, and welcome everybody. My name is Michael Younder. I'm Director of Partnerships at FinAI, and I'm joined by my colleague Jamie Lynch, who's a product manager at FinAI. And we're going to talk about 3 things today. We're going to go over our solution, introduction to who we are at FinAI. Jamie's going to give you a demo of our solution, and then we're going to wind things up by really talking about how AI-powered chat can really transform your client or member experience. So the first thing I want to talk about is sort of, why partner with FinAI? What's sort of the news here? And if you can think of one thing about us, think of us as a tech company that does one thing really well for one market. And the one thing we do really well is conversational AI. And the one market we serve is retail banking. And there are 4 advantages. There are 4 advantages to that. The first essentially is one reality and 3 advantages. The reality is that banks and credit unions are rapidly adopting chatbots and virtual assistants. There's evidence to support this, whether it's a project on the radar, in the works, or being already deployed. This is happening today. The second is we have the best conversational AI in the market. It's all we've been doing over the past several years. And as you'll see in the demo, it's really not your average chatbot, both in how it's designed, the nuance and how it works, and how it can really understand in a personalized way just what is being asked of it. The third advantage is this type of solution can really increase what you've already got in place. The tools and offerings you may have invested in already. This is a way of empowering them, enabling you to do even more. And in doing so, we feel that the research says anyway that your membership and your clientele will be added to by having more younger and savvy customers and clients come your way as a result of having this channel, which is really for them is their channel of choice. As far as who we work with today, we have a range of banks and credit unions. As you can see on the top, we have large institutions, Truist and American Express. Truist is the 6th largest bank in the US, but then also we have mid-sized community banks and credit unions, as you can see here. And in addition to Typhone, we have other partnerships focusing on core banking, digital banking platforms, and customer service platforms. we really are a better together proposition with our partners in serving banks and credit unions. So what factors are bringing us together? There's really two of them. The first is this rapid switch from phone to messaging in bank contact centers. This is happening today. In fact, it started happening back in 2017, and this is a study rather from Financial Brand, but really messaging and chat has become the channel of choice for engaging bank contact centers. And in fact, that trend has crossed the phone line, as you can see there, not too long ago, and is continuing on in the future in a more divergent path. So it really is the way forward. And one of our customers that you saw earlier as a logo, United Federal Credit Union, they really are a champion of the solution. And as we can see in a quote by Warren Pattison here, who's the head of innovation and emerging technology, he says there's irrefutable empirical proof for us that chat impacts the KPIs that really matter around loan volumes, customer satisfaction, and net promoter scores. So this really is an important emerging channel. So that's the first thing that's happened. The second thing that's happened is very large banks have already embraced this, and in the case of Bank of America, have dedicated a ton of resources and capital to doing this and setting a very high North Star as to what's possible. So with Bank of America and their Erica assistance, that really is sort of one of the largest institutions that have this going. Huge adoption, 17 million people use Erica, tremendous growth, nearly 70% year over year. And what this has done is it sort of set the standard for other institutions that may not have their assets or capital or resources to do this, but nonetheless want the outcome. They want also to put virtual assistants at the heart of their digital experience. So how do they do that? Well, they come to us. So just a bit about our product and how it works. We have a core offering, conversational AI, focused on retail banking. Out of the box, it handles over 800 possible user goals that a customer may ask of their retail bank. James is going to show you not all 800 of them, but a good number of them. And then there are three iterations of this product, three levels of which it can be provisioned. The first is as a simple Q&A bot on your website, on your .com, and this helps visitors navigate your site and find out information. The second, level 2, is a deeper navigational experience, being able to send people to different sections of your site as part of their questions in the bot, and also to support mobile banking versus just the .com online. And then the third iteration of the product, level 3, is the fully integrated solution. This is where we integrate with the bank's APIs for really that end-to-end user journey. This allows things like authenticated actions, people looking at transactions as they normally would engage in their banks. And James is going to show you examples of all of this coming up in a few moments. As far as the channels we deploy across, we are an omni-channel solution, as is Typhone. So we are deployed across, of course, digital messaging, but also social channels. We support Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. For banks and credit unions that have voice channels like Amazon Alexa, we also can support that. On our roadmap, we support phone and IVR, as does Typhone on their roadmap. So we're together there in realizing that phone and IVR really helps cement that ideal customer experience. And frankly, whatever comes next, we are a very forward-thinking company. We're always looking for the next best way to take our retail banking chatbot ahead. So there's more to come there for sure. So with that, I'm going to pause and hand over the keys to Jamie, who will take you through a demonstration of our product. So if we could share the screen, Helena, that would be great.
Thanks, Michael. And hopefully you can see our very own demo environment, ABC Bank. So this is obviously it's a fake bank website, but hopefully you'll recognize it as having a similar experience to your own bank website. And I'm going to start by, as Michael described, the 3 different levels of our product. I'm going to start within a .com space, interact with the bot to get some questions and informational responses. I'm then going to move into an online banking environment where I will take, I'll look at how the bot can answer questions of a different nature in that location. And then finally, I'll look at those API integrated use cases where I can actually complete banking tasks within the chatbot itself. So first of all, within the .com space, I can launch the chatbot here in the bottom corner. This is the FinAI messaging widget which can be injected into your digital locations really easily. And you will have, if you go down that route, you'll have full control over customizing the branding of the widget, whether it's coloring, the text, everything like that. And so while you have control over how the chatbot looks and feels, like this widget looks and feels, you don't have to train the bot to be able to understand what your users might come and ask it. So, the simplest example of that might be, you saw how I typed, what products do you got? Not the best language, a bit of shorthand, shortening the U, typical messaging language, but the chatbot already is trained to understand those variations of how users might ask about this information here, or might ask about this request. And then in the response, you'll see that this rich user interface includes images, includes this gallery with gallery cards within a carousel, all shaped to be able to provide a really engaging channel for users to be able to explore product information. Maybe they're interested in borrowing options, so they can, just go down this route of engaging with the chatbot in this back and forth conversation and understanding, what the borrowing options are at ABC Bank. So now I'm gonna sign in to my online banking, and hopefully again you'll recognize a fairly typical online banking experience, and then start to ask the bot slightly different questions, maybe some of the questions that are more likely to be asked of existing customers or members. And so let's start with, how do I deposit money? And so that's one, a relatively straightforward informational response, just, okay, how do I deposit money? But it might also offer me the opportunity to find a branch or ATM where I can actually complete that task. And then if I change it up a bit, so I'm having trouble with a deposit. So I want to call out how the language model and where our depth of the language model expertise comes into play here, is that those two requests made to the chatbot, how do I deposit money? I'm having trouble with the deposit. The key word in both of those requests is deposit. Like, that really says what the thing I'm interested in, like the banking service I'm interested in. But the intent of what I'm asking is very different. And so it's really important, and where we focus our expertise at Fin is being able to understand those nuances in customer requests and providing the appropriate response. So in the first case, how do I deposit money? I got some information about how to do that. And then when I'm having trouble with the deposit, the bot recognizes that it's a different request around deposit. It provides an appropriate response. And even to go even more granular, I haven't necessarily said what type of trouble I'm having. And so the bot provides suggestions on what is the issue specifically that I might be having with a deposit, and makes those available just a button click away, whether it's funds not available, maybe I'm having some issues with my deposit limits, or maybe it's just that deposit not arrived. And so I can click that and get exactly the response I need to solve my very specific issue, not a higher level response, just be like, okay, contact customer service or anything like that. We can go to that granular level of detail. Now, I will start help. I've lost my card. If anyone on the call, I'm sure there's lots of people out there who have lost their card, and in a pinch, it's not a fun experience. You want support immediately. You need to figure out what to do, whether you're worried it's been stolen, or maybe it's just in the back pocket of the jeans that you wore yesterday. When you come to a chatbot, you're able to provide just your issue. You've said in your own language that you've lost a card, and the chatbot in the response here provides a solution. And in this case, that solution could be freeze card. And there's a difference there. And I haven't necessarily come to the chatbot asking to freeze my card. I've just come stating my problem, and the chatbot is resolving it. And so this is a really great use case that I can then click that freeze card option and be directed to the location within my online banking where I can complete that task. And this is a great example, as Michael alluded to earlier, of how the chatbot can work alongside digital banking solutions to really make the most of that service. And so whether the user knows about this freeze card asset within their online banking or not, coming to the chatbot and stating their problem about losing their card they can get directed really quickly to that page and actually complete that task through that great freeze card feature. So now let me come back into the bot, and I'm going to switch to those API-driven use cases and show just what tasks, some of the tasks I can complete if integrated with either a digital banking solution or maybe a core banking solution, of which we have a number of partners with. So let me start with, let's consider the simplest use case when it comes to API-enabled use cases. And you might have an additional layer of security here that you want to send users through just to make sure that they are who they are. And I start by asking, what's my balance? And immediately within the chatbot, you can see that I'm presented with my balance across multiple accounts. But as we get a bit deeper, let's say, let's pay a bill. So I want to pay my electric bill, 50 from unlimited checking. And we can maybe, I know exactly, what I want to get out of the bot. I provide all that information about a bill payment, who I'm paying, how much, from what account. And the bot's able to pick apart everything I've said and just get to the confirmation stage where I can confirm that bill payment. And then that action's done. If though, I want to state that bill payment in a very different way, I can do that. And the bot is flexible enough to be able to, handle the different ways people ask about these banking tasks. So let's say pay electric bill. I'll start by just not providing as much information. It's just a little bit. And we can see how the bot then goes through more steps in order to clarify, okay, you obviously need to know from what account you want to pay. And so I provide that information. It's how much, and it's 50 again. And then at this point, we should be able to get to the confirmation. And so you can see that the end goal is exactly the same, but I've asked and gone through the process in very different ways. And this really, highlights the flexibility of this conversational channel to allow users to complete banking tasks in their own way. If I move on to another use case, let's think about what I can have. So when's my next card payment due? This, might be something that people often get hung up on in the sense that, there's a lot of information around credit cards, minimum payments, everything like that. And people want to be able to stay on top of that to protect their credit scores and their, their credit health. And so just asking the bot that information, it asked me to clarify which account. I selected my relevant credit card, and then I got presented all the information necessary for me to understand about when my statement date, what's the minimum payment, what's the whole statement balance, and everything like that. And so here you can see hopefully a few examples of exactly how I have gone through those authenticated features that would be delivered through an API integration, as I said, with any digital banking or core banking service. And at this point, Michael, I'm actually going to hand back over to you. Helena, do you mind if I hand back over? I had the slide deck, but the window got killed on me. So I'm going to hand back over to you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Michael. And maybe I can go through this next slide. So I've gone through the demo. I've shown you a few use cases across those different banking service levels. And as we go through, I just want to highlight, Michael mentioned that we do support 800 different use cases out of the box. And so those use cases are available to every customer who gets the Fin chatbot up and running. And as we go through these, here on the screen, you see a few more of those use cases that would be available to you across, some major categories. And these service, as we mentioned, all those different channels where a user might come and do their banking through a chatbot. And so that could, as we mentioned, on the .com, within digital banking channels, and then finally through API integrations as well. Thanks, Michael. If you go next slide. And how we offer at FinAI, how we offer our products to our customers is through a managed service model. And so the managed service, this implies that FinAI takes on the burden of the effort for developing the solution, both from a technical infrastructure point of view, as well as the AI and the natural language processing side of things. And so we do all the training of the chatbot to make sure that it can understand your members or your customers' queries out of the box. We don't ask you to provide any of that training data to optimize the chatbot. And we take that all on for you, and we make sure that we provide it to you out of the box, ready to go, so you can just focus on getting that service in front of your users and not having to build it yourselves. Thanks, Michael. Next slide.
Great, thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
So just to add to the slide where Jamie showed all the different user goals, the 800, I would like to add to that, there's also the millions of ways in which those questions can be asked. You know, thinking of typos, grammar. If you notice in Jamie's demo, he actually purposely misspelt a few words. That doesn't matter. Our solution can understand typos in different ways in which questions are asked of it, because of course it's conversational. So I wanted to also highlight that as well, Jamie. So when it comes to timing, another big part of a solution like this is, okay, so what does it take? How long does this project take to get off the ground? And we're really a weeks, not months to market solution. And the reason for that is we've been doing this long enough so that we've done all the heavy lifting. And when it comes to showtime, the involvement of the client is very minimal. So out of the box, our solution essentially is working in about 24 hours. What happens next is one of two things, or two of two things possibly. One is content configuration. So we allow the bot to be configured by the bank or credit union. For example, adding your own product names, product imagery. You saw in the carousel of products in Jamie's demo, imagery of the checking and savings account. You can of course add your own, but also in the sentiment, in the response. You know, banks or credit unions can add their own unique responses to questions. For example, sorry you had a bad day, or it sounds like you're traveling soon. These kinds of things. That's all done within our CSM, our database of responses. The other process that happens in parallel, which is optional, is configuration. So if we aren't already integrated, and we are integrated with several solutions now, but if we aren't, that takes between 1 to 8 weeks. And then if we add on to the end of that, sort of a testing and launch cycle, we can be up and running in about 8 weeks. And after we sort of sign the deal, the project usually kicks off in 5 to 10 business days. So we can get going quickly, and we can get you to market quickly. So I want to just finish off by looking at a couple of things, one of which is sort of how can you drive customer experience on the digital platform you have now, whether it's Typhone or others, with this product. And there's really three things. First is through an automated and very easy to use 24/7 service channel. That's really what we've shown you today. And that is one way in which you can drive experiences. The customer experience is through that way. The second is really helping your customers or members find and use the existing stuff you've already built or invested in, your existing capabilities within the digital banking platform. Those can empower things like what we demoed for you today and help people self-discover even more of what you have to offer on your mobile or .com site or through your online banking app. And then third is what we call a smart division of labor. This is actually one of my favorites. So essentially it's thinking of the chatbot handling all the routine, low complexity tasks and allowing human agents to focus on all the important stuff. Our research shows that about 75% of the things a customer or member would ask their bank or credit union are routine items. Reset passwords, where is your branch located? Do you have this product or that product? And these are all user goals we can contain easily. 25% of the time, things get a little hotter. People want to talk to agents. There are bigger issues they want to fix, or they just want to talk to somebody. And so for the 25% of the traffic, that is where the agent comes into place. And of course, our solution is designed in a way that that handoff can be seamless back and forth. So it's really about a smart division of labor, an automated 24/7 service channel, and really helping your customers self-discover even more of the investment you've already made in digital banking. So last slide before we get to questions, and I've got two questions for you. First is, if a chatbot is on your roadmap in the next 6 months, what can we do? Well, the first thing we can do is help you really improve the customer experience that you have on your digital banking suite now. We can really show you how that chatbot can essentially improve what you have now. And if that isn't the case and you're looking to understand sort of the value a chatbot can deliver, you're not quite yet at the point where you have it on a roadmap. Our case studies and our educational materials can really help you make that business case to get it on your roadmap in the next 6 months or so. So again, if it's something coming up, we'd love to help you, help show you how that can improve the overall experience on your platform you have today. And if it's not, we can certainly help you get it there. So with that, I will hand it over to our host and we can answer any questions that we might have.
Great, thank you, Michael and Jamie. That was really exciting to learn about your AI-powered chatbots. Just a reminder to everybody, if you have any questions, please put those in the chat window, because you're all in listen-only mode. In the meantime, I do know I have had one question asked. Michael, how does your pricing work?
So our pricing is fairly straightforward, and it's very fair too, actually. So the way we work is we bill by monthly active users. So essentially, we look at how often the bot is used, and we bill per monthly active user. So think of a monthly active user as somebody who logs in and uses the solution at least once a month. Now, depending on the product you have and how often it's being used, there are different product tiers involved, and that affects the price. Plus, we have minimums, but that's essentially how the math works. And then up front, we have a setup fee, gets us going, and potentially an integration fee too, if there are integrations. But once those two things are done, the reoccurring fee is simply based on those monthly active users.
Great, looks like we have one other great question here. Tini wants to know, how do you compare against other providers?
Jamie, do you want to do that one?
Sure. Yeah, so I think the first way that we really do compare is that our focus, expertise, and also our experience, like time and market focused on retail banking, has given us a more granular coverage of retail banking use cases. So when we talk about 800 different user goals that the chatbot is pre-trained to understand and deliver, and hopefully you saw that in my demo as well, like how granular you went when asking about deposit issues. We really want to be able to answer users' queries at the right level of detail and granularity. And so, we pride ourselves on having that deeper expertise than our partners. Michael, I don't know if anything else you want to add?
No, that sums it up very nicely. Yeah, we've been working on this for a long time, and it takes that time to get to the state we're at right now, where we can contain the calls, we can contain rather the user goals that we have to the levels of which are possible, approaching what a human can do, and that's not something you do overnight. So that brings us to where we are.
Well, it looks like we're at the end of our time for today. I want to thank everyone again for joining us, for spending the last 30 minutes with the three of us. And just as a reminder, we do post these webinars on our website. So if you want to come back, view it again, or if you want to tell somebody else to come check it out, we'd love to have you share that information with them. And then also, if you have any questions and you're a customer of Typhone, please reach out to your account manager. And if you're a Fin AI customer, feel free to reach out to your account manager with them, and we will get those questions answered for you. And you all have a good day, and thanks again for your time, and take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.